Board members, the time is now 6 p.m. Board members, the time 19th day of November, 2019, and I call the meeting of the Edgewood Independent School District Board to order. I will call the roll. Vice President Frank Espinosa.
Present.
Vice President Frank Espinosa. Secretary
Present.
Stella Camacho.
Here.
Secretary
Present.
Stella Camacho.
Here.
Board Member Timothy Payne.
Here.
Board Member Timothy Payne. Martha Castilla.
Here.
Board Member Timothy Payne. Board Member Joseph Guerra.
Present.
Board Member James Hernandez.
Present.
Board President Roy Soto, I'm here as well. Let the record show that a quorum of the Edgewood Independent School District Board is present. That this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag? Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Calderon Lugo, you have the floor. Ms. Calderon Lugo, you have the floor.
Good evening, Board President Soto, members of our school board, Dr. Hernandez, staff, and community. Tonight, we kick off our board meeting with students from our Brentwood STEAM School of Innovation. From our students, please come forward, and we can also ask our principal, Eva Reyna, to also please come forward to introduce our students as we begin to recite the U.S. and the Texas Pledge.
Good evening, Board President Soto, members of our school board, Dr. Hernandez, staff, and community. Tonight, I'm very proud, I'm happy to be here and announce our amazing students here tonight. I'm Eva Reyna, the proud principal at Brentwood STEAM School of Innovation. I'd like to introduce Reagan Lindsay, Owen Balasia, Marissa Santillan, Celeste Cruz, Alyssa Arizola, Talia Johnson-Stevenson, and Andrew Camacho. I'm very proud of all these students and all their hard work so far this year. I know we're going to have great accomplishment. Let's stand for the pledge.
Thank you very much. If we can please give our students a big round of applause. And I say it often, but I don't think you understand how nerve-wracking it is to stand before this audience. And so I think they do a fantastic job in standing here in front of everybody and recite the Texas and the U.S. pledge. So once again, thank you very much, students. Thank you for representing our Brentwood STEAM School of Innovation. Thank you, Ms. Reyna. And now it's on to our Leaders of the Pack video. Our Leaders of the Pack are individuals and students and staff in Edgewood ISD who are nominated and who exemplify our district's mantra, which is professionalism, accountability, and communication. Tonight, we are going to meet three wonderful individuals who are definitely making Edgewood proud. So our first leader, I would like to ask to please come forward, is Abel Ramos, who works in our transportation department. A few words used to describe Abel is not only that he is the lead mechanic, he also helps drive a school bus and help our bus staff when needed. He helps answer phones in the office when needed. Basically, anything that needs the work to get done, Abel is there to help. Abel is a proud product of Edgewood ISD, and soon we are going to hear a little bit more about this in our Leader of the Pack video. Abel, we want to thank you for setting the example of what it means to serve and support others. Congratulations on being nominated as a Leader of the Pack. Thank you again, Abel. Next, I would like to ask Ms. Analisa Palomino from Gus Garcia Middle School to please come forward. Ms. Analisa is being recognized tonight because she is, as someone said, a truly outstanding student. Already taking pre-AP classes, a member of Girl Scouts and Girls Who Code, at her very youthful age, Miss Annalisa has a passion for reading, writing, and creative expression that you will soon hear about in our Leader of the Pack video. Congratulations, Miss Annalisa, for being nominated as a Leader of the Pack and representing Gus Garcia Middle School. And our third Leader of the Pack I would like to recognize is Mr. Randall Glover, nurse at Perales Elementary School. If you can please come forward. So this is the first year Mr. Glover has been with Edgewood ISD, and he is already making an impact in our district. Here are a few things that were mentioned about Mr. Glover. He meets with safety patrol students to raise the flag. He greets students in the morning, not your typical task for a school nurse. And he has definitely gone out of his way to make sure not only our students at Perales, but also their families are receiving the help that they deserve and that they need. You will soon learn about his why, but in the meantime, congratulations, Mr. Glover, on being nominated as a Leader of the Pack and for representing Perales Elementary School. Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone. And now we hope you enjoy our Leader of the Pack video.
I'm Abel Ramos. I work in the transportation department here at Edgewood ISD. I'm the lead mechanic. I've been here for approximately 7 years. I like to brag that I am a proud product of Edgewood. I graduated from JFK back in 2005. Honestly, I never thought that I would be back to my roots, to give back to the community, to the same children that are in my footsteps. And to see the changes, the many opportunities that they are being given, some of the opportunities that I didn't have, simply in transportation-wise. You know, the amazing new buses that we're getting, new opportunities as far as college options, high school prep courses. To see those opportunities for them is amazing. So knowing that I can contribute, that I can help a little bit towards their success in the future is one of the main reasons why I love Edgewood and I love working here. But it feels good to get recognized, because I'll be the first to admit, yes, teachers are important in the district, all of the staff at the campuses, because they're in charge of leading or guiding the students as far as the academic side. But who are the first ones that see them in the morning, that pick them up? Bus drivers. You know, they're the first ones that welcome them on the bus and hopefully cheer them up on their way to school.
My name's Annalisa Palomino. I go to Gus Garcia Middle School and I'm a 7th grader. I'm involved with Girls Who Code, Girl Scouts, and Advanced Band. Coding is a wide spectrum, and it's sort of a new topic that's just being implemented into schools, and I thought it was cool. We focus on coding and teaching, learning how to do different commands, and we work with Ozobots. I've made a lot of good friends, and I've learned a lot of stuff that I probably would have never learned if I didn't come here. It's stressful sometimes, but it's fun to be able to do a lot of things that will help my school and help me become a better person. I see myself probably attending a university and getting a degree in English. I just find it interesting how you can learn a lot about a language, and you can interpret it in writing and essays, and it's just a really broad spectrum.
My name is Randall Glover. I'm the proud new nurse at Alonzo S. Perales Elementary School. I'm responsible for medications and safety and welfare for all the children and staff here at the elementary school. I used to work in hospitals, nursing homes. I did home health, where I used to travel around and treat people in their homes. So the difference is now that I'm stationary, I'm working with Little Souls, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot more. And my why am I wanting to be here at Paralis? And it's simply to love each and every one of these children as if they were my own. So my why is love. Yeah. What motivates me and what the reason that I look forward to coming to work every day is that it's always something different, especially in the nursing field. The other thing is, I feel as if what I do, you may not even want this part, but I feel as if what I do, it glorifies the Lord. So I don't make furniture, I don't fix cars. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with that, but I deal with little souls, and that's a big responsibility. So so that's what motivates me.
Thank you again to our leaders of the pack. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you all.
Board members, this evening, we do not have any citizens that have requested to address the board. So we will move on to agenda item number 4. Dr. Hernandez, you have the floor.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here for our monthly board meeting. So it's hard to follow up a PAC video, especially one as lively as this. So thank you again to our 3 individuals who were highlighted this. As always, I'd like to bring a report to the community and those of you that are attending this meeting around our 5 board superintendent goals. As always, our number 1 goal in the district is to focus on student success. And I won't read the rest of them to you, but these are all 5 areas in the district that we work very hard on and you will hear about this evening. The first thing that I want to talk about this evening, and again, focus on student success is our first area, is we want to highlight, and I'm sorry that this individual is not here this evening. He wasn't able to make it, but Ray Johnson is the general manager of FAMSA. And we wanted to highlight him this evening for his effort for allowing our 18-plus students to intern at 3 of his locations throughout the city, specifically at the Ingram location, at the Southwest Military location, and at the location on Commerce Street also. Obviously, it is an important part of our 18-plus program to get our kids out into the community and actually learn work skills. So we wanted to highlight Mr. Johnson. We're actually decided that we would go out to his place of business and actually take him the award and actually take his pictures and then bring it back to the district. But I think he deserves a round of applause even though he is not here. Our second goal revolves around focusing on our students, our families, and our community. Obviously, as partners in the education of children, we can't do the work we do without our community, our parents, and our families. And so last week, I had the distinct pleasure of hosting a neighborhood plática in John F. Kennedy's neighborhood. And we had about 80 to 100 people show up at our event that evening. We had the president of Palo Alto College come out and join us. We had our different students. And as you'll see in those pictures, we had students, our football team members, our volleyball team members, drill team, cheerleading. I wanted to show off our kids that are in our high schools because sometimes I think there are misconceptions around the children, the young men and women who decide to come to our schools. And moving forward, I'm going to make sure that our kids are at Plática so that we can show off the kids that we are growing in our district. It's a 12-year journey from when they start in, or 13 if you throw in pre-K. It's a 13-year journey from when they start to when they graduate. We are producing fine young men and women who are going out into this community and into the community as a whole and contributing. Just heard one of our PAC recognizees as a former district graduate. And so we are obviously putting out great young men and women out there. And this is an opportunity to show them off. And I can tell you from my conversations with kids, they like the attention. And this is good, healthy attention. And so if you haven't been to one of our pláticas, please come. I see our principal at Gus Garcia's in the back. He is hosting our next one. Mr. Bland, that is December, help me out here. 1st, 3rd. Yes, December 3rd. We're going to be hosting, that's a Sunday. December 3rd is a Tuesday. So we're going to be hosting our next neighborhood plática in Gus Garcia, and we've got them scheduled from now until the end of the school year. By the end of the school year, we will have 18 neighborhood pláticas, and probably we'll be repeating some in some very specific neighborhoods around innovation. So if there's innovation coming to a particular school, we will probably be out there a second time in the spring, reconnecting with our parents about any possible questions they may have. The third group that I want to highlight is our school board. I know they're not expecting this, but I also want to highlight our school board because a lot of members of our community do not know that our board members don't just show up on this evening and come for 2 hours or maybe an hour and a half and then leave. I can tell you because the men and women who sit in front here are also at work sessions with our board. And so the second Tuesday of the month, we usually meet at our Burleson Center from about 6 p.m. to about 10 or 11 p.m. at night. They take about 4 to 5 hours to sit and actually hear all the consent items that they take votes on. Why am I saying this? Because as we approach January, which is our Board Appreciation Month, I want everyone to understand how much work it takes to be a board member. This is not an easy job. They were just with us yesterday 2 more hours in the morning about some other items that we wanted to inform them on. And we strive at working on a very transparent environment where our board is as informed about every item that we ask them to consider. So I say that as a highlight to our board because this is very difficult work, and I will dispel any misconception. They don't get 1 cent for doing this work. They do it because they do it in recognition of the young men and women who come to our schools every day and in recognition of the men and women who choose to contribute their hours in terms of work to our school district. And that is not something that I take lightly. So I'd like to give our board a round of applause. So the other thing that I also had an honor of doing last week is that we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary. And I know our principal is in here, but Dr. Moran and her staff did a wonderful job of really recognizing the last 50 years, of really building traditions, and really just the work that HBG has done in the community. We had members of Henry B. Gonzalez's family at our event. But for me, I hope you notice the bigger picture there is the kids, the mariachi kids. To watch our kids get up there in front of other people and really just show off their skills, and you see a young man and a young woman who has taken the time to dedicate towards developing a skill, not a testing skill. That's not everything. It is these skills that young men and women get up for every morning. And so as a superintendent, I'm very proud that we are able to offer this. And when one of our PAC recommendees mentioned, or you may not want to hear this, but I say this all the time, this is the kind of work that really moves. You know, when I came, I said, this is ministry. This is how we bring back to our schools, and this is how we work for our kids. And this is how we promote our kids to being productive young men and women. So I have no shame in sharing that because I believe that. I believe this is good work. So again, to our members at HBG, thank you for putting on a wonderful show that evening for our folks. So they're not here, but I wanted to recognize them as well. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. And finally, we also focus on financial stewardship. And so we also had the Edgewood Education Foundation put together our annual golf tournament. And I want to thank Ms. Erlinda Cifuentes. I think I see you in here. I saw you in here. Yes. And so that organization for putting on our golf tournament, we had a great turnout that Saturday morning. I want to thank members of our board who attended and anybody else in the community who attended because it's nice to see people have a good time, play some golf, make some money that we're going to be able to put back in our classrooms for our grants. And so thank you to the foundation for putting this together and to anybody who participated. So I wanted to report that out also. And those are just pictures. These are some of our coaches from JFK, Mr. Gonzalez and Ben, and then, of course, all the other men and women who were there that morning. It was very cold that morning. So we were able to collect about $8,000, I believe, was the final tally. And so that will go back again towards teacher grants the teachers are writing for innovative ideas in their classrooms. So again, that was a great turnout and a great use of our funds. And then the last thing I want to talk about tonight is Goal 5. We do have a presentation on behalf of our Senior Executive Director of Operations, Mr. Williams, is going to come up and do a presentation for CPS Energy. And this is not a commercial. We have a presentation to do.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Hernandez, community, staff, and colleagues, for the past several years, the district has participated in the CPS Energy Demand Response Program. The program is also commonly referred to as curtailment. The Demand Response Program aims to reduce the overall demand for electricity in San Antonio and on the state grid. Demand Response is a voluntary load curtailment program for commercial and industrial customers. CPS rewards the district for implementing energy conservation measures by monetarily incentivizing us for the amount of energy that we are not using, keeping costs low for all CPS energy customers. Tonight, we have Joe Jones of CPS to present the district with a very special presentation. Mr. Jones. Members of the board, this is an information item, and there's no action required on your behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. My name is Joe Jones, and I'm one of the managers of key accounts for CPS Energy. And I'd like to thank the Edgewood ISD Board of Directors, Dr. Hernandez, and the trustee team for inviting me here this evening. What a pleasure it is to share the results of what Edgewood ISD achieved this summer in our demand response program. This program is very beneficial and critical to the community of San Antonio because it helps stabilize our electric grid during the very hot days in the summertime. And we called, out of the 120 days this summer from June 1st through September 30th, we called 19 events or curtailment days, and each, it was about 2 hours per day, so that's about 38 hours of curtailment. And Edgewood ISD, your team, actually reduced consumption during that period. And they reduced about 4,300 kilowatts. And as a result of that, we paid an incentive of over $306,000 to achieve that. Over the past 6 years, Edgewood ISD participated in this program, and CPS has presented a check or checks which total over $1.5 million. Very, very commendable. And I'd like to give a special thank you to Mr. Williams and Mr. Cantu and the facilities team for making this all happen. Thank you so much for a great job.
Okay. Wait, what? We're losing it. Okay, thank you. Let me bring us back because Dr. H made a mistake. I would like to ask the members of the Education Foundation to come up. We have another check presentation that we are doing. So, Ms. Erlinda, if you will come up, and we're going to also receive that. Let's give them a round of applause. Soto, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Board members, we're going to move to agenda item 6, which is the consent agenda. I'm sorry, let me back up. We're on 5A, presentations and discussions. Dr. Hernandez, you have the floor again.
First presentation you're going to hear this evening is from our Senior Executive Director of Human Resources, Travis McIlvain. He will be presenting to the school board on Board Superintendent Goal 4, which is focused on employee and organization. McIlvain.
Good evening, President Soto, school board members, Dr. Hernandez, community, and Edgewood staff. It's my privilege to share the Human Resources Department update, board update with you this evening. So thank you so much in advance. Our intended learning outcomes tonight will focus on the Human Resources Department's efforts to support Edgewood ISD's Vision 2025 and specifically detail our work around Board Superintendent Goal 4. Over the next few minutes, I'll share updates on our collaboration with school leadership to create consistency throughout the district related to principals practice, which directly supports Goal 4.1. And I'll also demonstrate efforts to recruit, retain, and onboard employees to the district in support of Board Superintendent Goal 4.3. The mission of Edgewood ISD is to provide an exceptional learning experience that engages, empowers, and prepares students to compete and reach their highest potential in an ever-changing world. Whether through recruiting and retaining high-quality employees or providing needed guidance and support to campuses and departments, the Human Resources Department serves as an integral component to the achievement of this mission. The focus of tonight's presentation is to demonstrate HR's role in supporting our vision and Board Superintendent Goal 4 specifically. Board Superintendent Goal 4 is to focus on employees and organizational improvement. Tonight we're going to focus on Goal 4.1 and Goal 4.3 specifically. Goal 4.1 states that the superintendent will create a handbook for use by principals across the district in order to have consistency on the campuses. And Goal 4.3 states that the superintendent will continue to develop and deploy a recruitment and induction process to attract and support new employees. Among the ways that HR supports Goal 4.1 includes our direct support to principals and other district supervisors in appropriate documentation of employees, whether to assist an employee in their professional growth through the creation of coaching and intervention plans, or through the appropriate guidance needed when an employee must adjust their practice. HR provides full-service documentation training and support for principals and supervisors. We provide principals with robust templates and real-time guidance to help employees grow while maintaining legal and ethical boundaries related to documentation. During our October regular board meeting, our Senior Executive Director of Operations shared with you that his department goals related to the recruitment and retention of critical employees within the Physical Plant Services Department, Transportation Department, and Child Nutrition Department. Specifically, Mr. Williams stated that his department's goal is to increase custodial staffing to 100% by June 30th of 2020, increase PPS staffing to 80% by June 30th, 2020, and increase bus driver staffing to 85% in that same time frame. To support his department in accomplishing these goals, the Human Resources Department has hosted and is planning to host operations job fairs at both external and internal venues. On December 6th, we'll be hosting an area-wide operations job fair that will be hosted at our Burleson Center to include all areas of operations. And additionally, HR works closely with our Public Relations Department to get the word out regarding exciting employment opportunities in an effort to attract quality talent. Through the board's support in addressing employee compensation, we're able to remain competitive with our market competitors. This, along with a strategic marketing approach, places us in a strong position to achieve and even exceed the district staffing goals for these critical areas. Continuing our support of Goal 4.3, actively recruiting prospective teaching candidates is a critical priority for the Human Resources team. HR administrators actively spread the word about the exciting things happening in Edgewood across the region through university and other professional job fairs. As you can see in the pictures above, our HR administrators engage interested applicants and share why Edgewood is a destination district for quality candidates searching for their next step in their professional journey. Throughout the current school year, the HR team both hosts and/or attends over 20 job fairs, including all major universities such as the University of Texas at Austin, Texas A&M University in San Antonio, UTSA, University of Incarnate Word, Texas A&M Corpus Christi and in Laredo, UT Brownsville and UT Edinburgh, and a plethora of others. We are excited to announce that this year we will be the first district in our area, if not in the state, to incorporate students in our teacher recruitment process. Our extremely talented Director of Strategic Partnerships, Marisa Perez-Diaz, will train a select group from our team board to attend job fairs, speak with teacher candidates, and help us recruit top talent by sharing their stories and perspective on what type of educator Edgewood ISD is seeking. Not only will this approach attract teachers who can connect with our students even before the formal job interview, but it will help our students develop real-life skills in public speaking, presentations, and in the business side of education. I can't wait to share with the board following our first recruitment event with our students. So more to come on that. We're excited about that exciting venture. Continuing in our effort to recruit top quality candidates for our classrooms, the HR department has forged very unique and special relationships with with university partners like UTSA and Texas A&M San Antonio, who provide a critical number of student teachers in our district. Student teachers are an important source of talent for us because these student teachers have selected Edgewood to invest their semester of student teaching in. And so, as opposed to just patting them on the back and thanking them for selecting Edgewood, we host on a semester-by-semester basis a really wonderful student-teacher luncheon where we both thank student teachers for, again, investing in the lives of our students. When they could have chosen any other district in our area, they chose Edgewood to experience their student teaching in, but also to acknowledge and to continue to forge relationships with those university partners so we can continue to tap into the great pool of student teachers in our area. Student teachers come with a tremendous edge in terms of experience, for new teachers, that is. There are individuals who forego student teaching and go straight into the classroom through alternative certification programs. But obviously, that semester-long of experience in our classrooms, I think, gives our student teachers a unique perspective on what's needed to be a great teacher in Edgewood. And so we want to continue to cultivate that relationship with our universities and with our student teachers so we can tap into that rich talent pool. More pictures from this past student teacher luncheon, and our next student teacher luncheon is actually this Friday. As you know, and I'll remind you, our Lone Star Governance goals for retention directly correlates with our efforts to recruit. A wise man once said that if you hire well, you'll hire less. Actually, I just made that up right before the board meeting, so I'm that wise man. Our Lone Star Governance goals, it sounded really good at the moment. Our Lone Star Governance goals are that we see a continual reduction in our retention rate over time. In fact, our baseline in 2016 was 26% turnover rate with teachers. And so we started tracking our annual retention rate to make sure that we were meeting targets. I am, happy to reiterate that because of our focus on strategic recruitment, we have been able to see a precipitous drop in our turnover rate, and we aim to continue to get closer to state average in terms of turnover through our efforts, not just to recruit quality candidates, but also to retain them. So regarding retention, because that is the most important part, regarding retention, that's the most important part to developing employees is making sure that you hold on to them long enough to help them grow and develop. We found that effectively onboarding our new employees plays obviously a very critical role in these retention efforts. From the moment we invite a candidate to interview with us through their first days on the job, HR's role is to make their transition as smooth and as seamless as possible. During our new employee orientation, we share critical information to ensure that they have a strong foundation to start in their new role. We collaborate closely with multiple departments such as payroll, our police department, public relations, risk management, and technology, so employees know exactly where they can go for ongoing help and support. This year, we implemented a new step in our onboarding to include a new substitute orientation. Our substitute teachers are critical to the success of the district, and we have been excited to bring in a significant number of new substitutes who are eager to learn and grow in Edgewood. Our new substitute orientation covers essential information regarding effective classroom management strategies, needs and expectations for substitutes, and other information designed to make their experience with us meaningful and fulfilling. Through the efforts of the HR staff, we've seen an increase in our fill rates across the district, which is currently averaging at 81%. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the board for your support in adopting pay increases to substitute teachers at middle schools and high schools last year when you adopted that. This, coupled with frequent hiring events hosted by HR, is resulting in a greater number of available substitutes when teachers can't attend work. So I wanted to highlight that and also acknowledge you and thank you for your support in those efforts. Finally, as we talk about supporting our employees, I'm excited to give you a brief update on our work to establish an employee health center. To date, we have visited the administrative team, to include Dr. Hernandez, the CFO, myself, and other team members, have visited Northwest ISD, just northwest of Dallas, Crowley ISD, which is near Dallas, Southside ISD, right here locally. We've also engaged in communication and talks with the University Health System and the Westside Development Center to really explore what a model would look like for Edgewood that makes sense both financially, but also that most benefits our employees. So this is a preview of coming attractions. I know it's been mentioned to you before, but we are so excited about this venture and the vision that Dr. Hernandez has shared in terms of allowing this critical benefit for our employees who obviously continue to experience the increase in health insurance every year, which is normal, but at the same time, we don't want to be normal. We want to stand apart and not only attract great employees because of the benefits that we provide, but also retain our great employees, whether it's our paraprofessionals in the classroom, our bus drivers, or our teachers and administrators. We want to make sure that we're offering extremely competitive benefits. And I think you'll be pleased when we bring a recommendation to you toward the conclusion of this year with what we're able to recommend based on the work that we're currently doing in this area. So thank you in advance for your support on that. So again, this evening, I intended to make sure that we reiterated our Vision 2025, share with you HR's focus on Goal 4, which is a focus on employees and organizational success, and specifically how HR supports Goal 4.1 by providing documentation guidance to principals, and of course Goal 4.3 through our efforts to recruit, retain, and support our employees. At this time, thank you, and do you have any questions?
Board members? I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Have we had success in recruiting our student teachers?
Yes, we have. And I can get more detailed information for you, Mr. Soto, but we have been able to retain or actually bring on board a number of student teachers over the last couple of years. We have focused on this group, obviously, because of the experience that they have, but I'll tell you, oftentimes, a number of our student teachers are actually products of the district. And so when we have our new our student teacher luncheon, we always one of the first questions we ask is, you know, who's a product of Edgewood, and where'd you graduate from high school, and acknowledging that connection, welcoming them home, and thanking them for, you know, their commitment to returning home, obviously is part of the recruitment cell, but it really is it's such a critical pool of candidates that we want to continue to cultivate it. So yes, sir, we have hired, and I can provide to the board in the board update the numbers of the last couple of years of student teachers that have been hired.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Will you go back to the bar graph with
Yes.
retention? What's the, what is the green bar?
Sure. So look, thank you for asking that, Mr. Hernandez. I didn't do a good job of explaining that. The green are actually our annual goals. And so you can see that our goal for 2018, we wanted to get down to at least 25.9% turnover, 2019, 24.9%, and 2020, our goal is 23.9%. And it goes on through 2022. It's our 5-year goal, LSG goal. To the left, you can see our actual progress. So in 2017, we were compared against the baseline. That was the 26.9%. That's where we started. 2018, we went all the way down to 21%. So we exceeded actually the entire 5-year goal. And this year, we've seen even more progress. But we're continuing to track it because any given year, there are circumstances that impact turnover one way or the other. And so it is something that, even though we've met our 5-year goal, it's not something that we're comfortable taking our eyes off the ball because we want to get better. I mean, quite frankly, our 5-year goal was ambitious when we started off at 26.9% turnover, but we have been able to see a pretty significant decrease over the last 2 years that we're excited about. We want to see it continue to go down.
That's great that we're exceeding the goals. Is there going to be readjustment, or we're just really following the goals?
I'll step in on this part. I think for now, the other thing that we want to look at is sustainability. Because I don't believe that over the past few years we've had enough consistent performance that we can go in and just change it overnight. I think we have to have at least 2 or 3 years of that consistent performance before we start raising that bar. I mean, we don't move our finger off of it. We're still going to continue to do the other things, the things that he mentioned, in addition to this year adding the students. Because I think the difference for us is going to be now you have juniors and seniors from our high schools going out to these universities and saying, come teach in our district. A lot of folks, we use degreed individuals to do that. So I think the power in that is now having students that are actually advocating for folks to come to our district. So I believe that our numbers will continue to sustain, but it's still too early with only one year under our.
Mr. McAvey, I have one more question. With regards to the consent agenda item E, the early separation notice, will that have an effect on these numbers?
It could, Ms. Camacho. That's a good question. But however, I'll say I don't anticipate it having a significant effect. I hope that it doesn't. It absolutely could. The early separation notice is really just intended to people who know that they're going to leave anyways, who are going to be counted in this turnover rate regardless. If they let us know early, then it gives us more time to plan. So we're not encouraging necessarily people to leave. We're just encouraging them to tell us early if they already know they're going to leave. So I don't know if I answered your question fully. It absolutely could, but it's I hope that it doesn't negatively impact our turnover, or that we don't start going back the other direction.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a prevalence of which university most of the students come from, student teachers?
I don't want to give you a quick answer and it be incorrect. I can tell you that the majority of our student teachers come from Texas A&M San Antonio and UTSA, and I don't know the breakdown off the top of my head. I would think that UTSA has provided more student teachers, but A&M's presence is growing every year. And so let me get you some specific information so you kind of see the breakdown, because we also have, a student teacher here or there that comes from UIW or Our Lady of the Lake. So that's a great question. I'll get the board the update.
Board members, I'll also interject that part of the 5-year innovation journey is also conversations that our deputy superintendent and our chief of transformation are currently having with institutions like SAMUSA in terms of creating a pipeline of our students who are already in the district that will eventually move into the university setting, and what can we do to establish a relationship with them now and attract them and lock them in so they come back. And so I invite you to think about the innovation zone around Memorial, the public service zone. That includes education. So that's part of the conversation these two gentlemen are having right now about how do we lay that track out and then bring you right back. That creates a pipeline to keep our kids in our schools. So I invite you to think about those two in forms of us being proactive of creating pipelines.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. McElvain. Our second item this evening is a follow-up from item 5B, which is our Director of School Improvement, Leticia Rodriguez, who will be presenting on Lone Star Governance Monthly Monitoring Report. Now, board members, I'll remind you, we had this discussion at our work session and our study session, so this is a minor continuation of that conversation, and we'll be showing you actual examples from our school buildings that would support the work and addressing of areas of improvement that we have. So, Ms. Rodriguez?
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Soto, Board members, Superintendent, Dr. Hernandez, community members, and Edgewood staff members. Today's learning objectives, well, I will be reporting today on our monthly board report for November 2019. Today's learning outcomes is Go Progress Measure 2.1, the percent of students in third grade meeting STAR Math Standard. Go Progress Measure 2.2, the percent of students in fifth grade meeting standard in STAR Math. Go Progress Measure 2.3, the percent of students in Algebra 1 meeting STAR Standard in Algebra 1. I do want to remind you of our green bars. The green bars represent our 5-year goal. The blue bar will represent our current data, and the yellow bar will represent last year's data. Our goal for 2020 for our third grade students, we would like to see 69% of our third grade students meeting STAR Math Standard. Currently, we are reporting 32% of our students are meeting STAR Standard. Last year, we reported at this time last year 23%. That is a 9% increase, a 9% difference from last year. For fifth grade math, our goal for fifth grade math is for 81% of our fifth grade students to meet STAR Standard. Currently, we are reporting at 50%. Last year at this time, we reported 32%. That is a difference of an 18% difference, and that is an 18% increase. Reporting on Algebra 1, our goal for 2020 is 77%. Our current data shows that 22% of our 8th grade students are meeting that standard in Algebra 1. That is a difference from last school year. Last year, we reported at 37%, with a difference of 15%. That is a decrease in Algebra 1. I do want to share the reinforcements. These are things that we are doing well and will continue to do. Here we have our students who will continue to participate in engaging lessons. Our students, both in middle school and elementary school, will continue to engage in hands-on activities. We have our teachers who will continue to work with students in small group instruction. There will be ongoing planning with teachers who will be collaborating with our instructional coaches. We will also have content deepening training with our instructional coaches and teachers. And our Algebra 1 teachers and coaches will continue to identify trends in the algebraic reasoning questioning. Our refinements, these are things that we will continue to improve and refine. Our students will continue, continue to implement all math workshop components. Our teachers will continue to spiral review our low tested standards. Our students will participate in differentiated math centers, and teachers will continue to monitor that. And we will continue to support and build foundational algebraic reasoning. Our superintendent considerations, this is how we will address our refinements. Our instructional math coaches will provide ongoing training and will continue to monitor the program as needed. And our teachers will continue to provide extensive support for students and will continue to monitor their progress. Our learning outcomes for this evening were to share with you our current data in our third grade math, fifth grade math, and our Algebra 1 students taking this test. Do you have any questions?
Board members?
I know we made that move to include algebra grade. The goal prior to that, what are we? I guess did this stand or we called it out?
To bring that slide back up.
That third grade?
But we haven't changed the name. I mean, it's always been on the goal. What we did was we moved it down to 8th grade.
Oh.
And then if you recall from our work session this year, we discussed the fact that we now have a new cohort of teachers. We're just sort of starting out with Algebra 1 earlier. Yes.
Oh.
So we're teaching it a year earlier. The difference between last year and this year is that we have a new set of teachers. For the discussion we had about going deeper in the content, because we have teachers that are still learning the algebra. The algebra.
But our weren't measuring always.
So we've been measuring on math third grade through algebra 1. So that's third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth course algebra 1. So that span of grade level. Are you referring to what agenda?
Yeah, well, on our Lone Star goals,
Correct.
percent of grade.
Correct.
Prior to that, didn't we have it as math? Didn't include algebra as.
That would be before my time.
I'm just wondering, are we using the same measurement of that for the goal setting?
Well, we've seen it as algebra. Could be.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, in 2019 is when we took the baseline for this particular LSG goal. If you recall, because we had a change in what the state was requiring to include CCMR, and we didn't have a mathematics Lone Star governance goal, the board thought it best that we have a mathematics component as well as a CCMR. So we started this 2019, and instead of giving a third through algebra 1, we looked at the first year, third grade. We looked at fifth grade, which is a projection for completion or entrance into algebra 1. And we looked at algebra 1, that's a predictor for success in upper grade level mathematics. So we chose those three particular grade levels because it gives us the best data, the best pulse, how students are going and matriculating through our mathematics program. If you look at our actual goal for goal 2, that goal looks at mathematics grades 3, 1. These goal progress measures that we report out 3 times a month or quarterly give us a pulse of how the math. We have not.
So we're basing it on 2018 STAR mathematics. However, the STAR mathematics 2018 algebra. Or is that just regular, I guess?
Sure, I completely understand. So in 2019, that 74% that we have, that is our final mark. That is our final score. If you notice, we were 1% below our projected 5-year goal, which is 2019, the green, of 75. This year, our 2020 goal for this particular component is 77%. We're at 22%. We see that we're making our way up. Last year, for Algebra 1, we had both 8th graders and high school. This year, it's just our 8th grade. I don't know if I answered the question.
I guess I'm just wondering, 2018 STAR mathematics baseline measure. 2018 STAR mathematics. You said we changed it to algebra in 2000. So I'm wondering, 2018 STAR mathematics are we apples and oranges thing?
So, sorry, good question. So if we look at the top, we'll increase from 73% to 83%. So our baseline in 2018 was 73.
Okay.
2019, 74. Now we're, I apologize.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Board members, any more questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. President, those are our presentations and discussions for today.
Board members, we're going to continue with agenda item 6, which is the consent agenda. Board members, all items may be acted upon at the same time. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda from A through R.
Board members, do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Board Member Joseph Guerra moves. Board Member James Hernandez seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Agenda item 7 is an action item. Dr. Hernandez, you have the floor.
Ms. Martinez will be leading our discussion on this action item, approval of the resolution to cast votes for the Bear Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2021 term by official election ballot. Martinez?
Thank you, sir, and good evening once more. Tonight, the action item before you is a resolution for the Bear Appraisal District Board of Directors election 2020-21 year. Just to share, the Edgewood Independent School District has 28 out of 5,000 votes. Votes are prorated based on property tax values. So the district has the option of casting 28 votes and selecting a candidate from the list that was provided in your board packet. Currently, the wishes of the board is to nominate, or rather cast votes for Mr. Juan Mancha, but there needs to be a formal action taken by the board.
Board members, do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board cast its votes in the following manner for the Bear Appraisal District Board of Directors 2020-2021 term. Juan Mancha for the 28 votes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Secretary Stella Camacho moves. Board Member Joseph Guerra seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
ma'am. The time is now 7 p.m., and the board will adjourn into closed session to discuss agenda item A8A, consultation with legal counsel regarding issues in regard to possible reduction of force due to a program change. And this is pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The board is now in closed session. I don't know where they are.
Oh,
Last call.
2 minutes.
Anybody have a joke they want to?
You're on.
Wait a minute. Can't do anything.
Here they come. Here they come. We're talking.
Now my phone.
Who will?
It's just that
We're gonna close it. Back. There's.
Okay. Reconvened from closed session. The time is now 7:48 p.m. The board will take appropriate action on items if necessary as discussed in closed session. There will be no action taken this evening. Board members, again, it is 7:48 p.m. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Board Member Joseph Guerra moves. Board Member Timothy Payne seconds. Do we have any discussion? We have no discussion. Our meeting is adjourned.